Imagine thinking you are at the absolute peak of your life, only to find out the universe is about to strip away your entire identity overnight. Our favorite panda Pa is facing an ancient threat so terrifying, it literally defies the laws of life and death. And before he can even wrap his head around it, he is forced to step down as the legendary dragon warrior. The movie opens with what looks like the ultimate villain flex, as Tai Lung seemingly rises from the dead to reclaim the valley. Meanwhile, Po's dad Mr. Ping is panicking hard because Pa is ghosting his own grand appearance. Li Shan tells him to chill out because Pa is probably just off living his best life. Cut to Pa literally riding stingrays and beating up bad guys with maximum main character energy. He swoops into town like an absolute rock star while fanboys lose their minds over him. Fans are throwing merch at him, desperate for an autograph from the living legend. But Master Shifu shows up looking utterly unamused by Po's wild antics. Pa flexes Oogway's holy staff, but instead of using it for cosmic balance, he uses it as a marketing gimmick. He literally uses the ultimate realm-opening artifact to cut the grand opening ribbon for a noodle shop. He starts reciting cheesy promotional slogans while Shifu's soul leaves his body. The crowd instantly asks where the rest of the iconic squad is hiding. Turns out the Furious Five are away doing insane solo missions across the globe. Tigress is literally fighting a chicken gang while Mantis is dodging his aggressive new bride. Pa tries to cover for their absence with cringy cardboard cutouts. Shifu looks at a cutout that perfectly captures his angry face and decides enough is enough. Shifu takes Pa up the iconic steps of the Jade Palace for a serious heart-to-heart. He drops the news that Destiny is calling Pa to take his final evolution. Shifu tells him straight up that it is time to choose the next dragon warrior. Pa literally laughs it off thinking Shifu is pulling a massive prank on him. But Shifu confirms that Po's time as the active hero is officially cooked. Pa is being promoted to spiritual leader, taking Oogway's old high-level title. His new job is to sit back, drop quotes of wisdom, and inspire the people. Pa panics because he has zero interest in sitting around dispensing cosmic advice. Shifu reminds him that Oogway gave him the staff to evolve, not to promote fried tofu. Shifu admits he accepted long ago that he was never destined to be Oogway's true successor. Pa calls out Shifu's obvious suppressed trauma, leading to an immediate passive-aggressive argument. Pa feels like everything he worked for is getting ripped away right at his prime. He complains that being a spiritual leader lacks the epic sauce and explosive action he loves. Pa confesses that he only knows two things in life, fighting villains and forgetting their names. Shifu points out that kicking butt is not the only way to save the world. Shifu shuts down Po's whining and tells him his dragon days are over. He orders Pa to line up candidates the very next morning. Next day, the arena is packed with wild Kung Fu hopefuls ready to flex. Pa gets lazy and tries spinning his finger in the air to pick a random stranger. He rejects everyone instantly because nobody gives off main character energy. Shifu tells him he will just feel it in his spirit when the right hero appears. Shifu takes Pa to Oogway's sacred tree to seek clarity from the cosmos. Pa admits he is nowhere near ready to let go of his glory days. Shifu hands him an old peach pit as a deep philosophical lesson. He tells Pa that even a discarded pit harbors the potential of a massive tree. Shifu instructs Pa to meditate and merge his mind with the essence of the seed. Instead of inner peace, Pa instantly starts daydreaming about food and soy-glazed veggies. Pa tries to concentrate, but his inner voices start having a chaotic full-blown debate. He realizes his own inner monologue is arguing with itself inside his head. Suddenly, an actual mysterious third voice tells them all to shut up. Pa realizes there is a literal intruder creeping around inside the sacred hall of heroes. Pa snaps into battle mode and calls out the shadow intruder hiding in the darkness. He corners the sneaky thief right near the ancient weapon display cases. Turns out a shadowy fox named Shen is slipping priceless ancient relics into her pockets. Pa compliments her thief skills before demanding she return the weapon immediately. Jin roasts Po's sacred walking stick, asking if he plans to walk her to death. The fight explodes as Jin mockingly dodges Po across the Holy Museum floor. She accidentally smashes legendary artifacts to pieces during her wild evasive maneuvers. She shatters an ancient urn holding ancient souls, low-key creeping herself out. Jin mocks Po for breathing heavy during their chaotic game of tag. Po pushes back with high energy, refusing to let this bandit flex on him. Jin uses slick ninja moves to trick Po's sight lines and slip away. Po uses his massive size and master skills to finally pin the fox to the floor. Jin sarcastically surrenders to the big panda after getting caught red-handed. Po sentences her to 2 long years in the local high-security lockup. Jin roasts the prison system, calling the Valley Prison a literal joke. Out of nowhere, terrified villagers burst in yelling that Tai Lung has returned to wreck the valley. Po is shook because Tai Lung is supposed to be trapped in the spirit realm forever. Jin drops a cryptic hint that she knows way more than she is letting on. She immediately tries to hustle Po for a deal before dropping real intel. Po tries playing the hero card, but Jin laughs directly in his face. She reveals that Tai Lung is actually a fake created by a shape-shifting sorceress. She describes the villain as a terrifying shapeshifter with glowing teal eyes. She reveals the villain's identity, the mighty and sinister chameleon. Po realizes he cannot track down a shapeshifter without an insider guide. Po promises to shorten Jin's jail time if she leads him straight to the chameleon. Ignoring Shifu's warnings, Po breaks Jin out of jail to embark on one last epic adventure. The chameleon is straight up terrifying because she can literally shapeshift into anyone in the room without you even knowing. She calls a secret meeting with the biggest crime bosses in Juniper City to flex her absolute dominance. The mob bosses try talking trash behind her back, calling her a bug-eyed reptilian runt who hijacked their city. But the villain reveals she was disguised as one of them the entire time, pulling off the ultimate jump scare. Instead of just taking half their profits, she cooked up a plan to jack up their monthly tribute to 60%. To prove she means business, she morphs into a giant elephant and throws a boss down a massive flight of stairs. Meanwhile, on the road, Po is giving off major main character energy while trying to share his snacks with Jin. Jin is completely suspicious because she is used to everyone in the streets trying to scam her. Little do they know, Po's 2 dads are secretly following them in the shadows like helicopter parents. Both Ping and Li are low-key spiraling because they know this sorceress is way more dangerous than anything Po has faced before. Even though they are totally terrified, the 2 dads pledge to step up and back up their son no matter what. Ping drops some hilarious parental wisdom while trying to keep Li from completely losing his mind. Jin finally points out their target across the water, the massive, sprawling metropolis of Juniper City. To get across the river, Jin leads Po into a total dive bar called the Happy Bunny Tavern. Po immediately wanders over to a high-stakes gambling game because he cannot resist making new friends. The panda accidentally wipes out all the hardcore gamblers on his very first turn with absolute beginner's luck. Jin tracks down a sketchy boat captain to negotiate a ride across the bay for their mission. But the captain keeps raising the price every time Po opens his mouth and mentions trouble. Jin orders a massive, luxurious feast for the table, acting like she is loaded with cash. It turns out Jin pulled off a massive scam and stole every single piece of food without paying a single cent. The whole tavern realizes they got conned and instantly pulls out weapons to obliterate them. The angry manager drops the nice guy act and orders the entire bar to rip Po and Jin apart. A chaotic, wild bar brawl erupts as Po tries to stop the violence while Jin keeps picking pockets mid-fight. Po tries to lecture Jin about morality while literally dodging deadly attacks left and right. The fight explodes outside, sending the entire cliffside tavern crumbling into the raging waters below. Po regrets eating so much food right before having to do gymnastics on a falling building. They barely clutch up an escape by crashing onto the captain's boat right as the tavern collapses. Meanwhile, Mr. Ping has to keep telling Lee to pull it together as they navigate their own treacherous trail. Lee tries to put on a brave face, but he ends up screaming in total terror at the smallest spook. The panda dad completely breaks down, proving that parent anxiety is at an all-time high. Out on the water, Jin starts looking at Juniper City with a mix of nostalgia and genuine trauma. She opens up about her tragic childhood, explaining how she was orphaned and forced to hustle to survive. He immediately relates to her backstory, sharing how he was also an orphan adopted by a loving family. Jin reveals that someone in the city eventually took her off the streets and taught her everything she knows. Jin pivots the topic to ask why Master Shifu was stressing Po out about finding a replacement dragon warrior. Po admits he is freaking out about stepping into Shifu's old role as the grand spiritual leader. He realizes he has no idea how to make wise proverbs and feels like a total fraud. Jin drops a surprisingly deep life truth that actually makes Po rethink his entire existential crisis. She reminds him that people only fear change because they are terrified of letting go of their comfort zones. Back at the Citadel, the chameleon is plotting to conquer every single territory, including the Valley of Peace. She casually threatens her goons with brutal violence if they do not bring her more power immediately. Out on the boat, Po jolts awake after seeing a terrifying psychic vision of the sorceress in action. Po insists it wasn't just a bad dream, it was a supernatural warning that they are running out of time. The boat finally docks, revealing the massive, towering scale of Juniper City in all its chaotic glory. Jin hypes up her hometown as a lawless paradise where anything goes if you are fast enough. Po steps off the boat and is instantly overwhelmed by the wild energy of the urban jungle. Coming from a sleepy peaceful valley, the insane city rush hour leaves Po totally speechless. He gets distracted in seconds by all the incredible street food smells wafting from every alleyway. Jin grabs him by the shoulders to snap him back into focus before they get caught slipping. Po instantly spots the evil-looking dark tower towering over the skyline like a villain's main lair. The panda stays confident, knowing he has taken down global threats like Tai Lung and Shen before. As they walk through the streets, every single shady character in town starts recognizing Jin. Po starts suspecting that his street-smart guide might be way more infamous than she let on. He gets hit with a rude awakening when he realizes Jin is a notorious fugitive in this city. Jin tries to play it cool, acting like the local police are too busy to care about her criminal record. Right on cue, a heavy squad of city guards spots Jin and moves in to arrest her on the spot. Po steps in front, trying to flex his famous title as the legendary dragon warrior to clear their names. The guards have literally zero idea who he is, completely ignoring his legendary reputation. Po tries hitting his signature kung fu pose, but the cops are totally unbothered by his hero flex. Jin realizes Po's diplomatic approach is cooked and grabs him to make a desperate run for it. Po gets stressed out because he hates breaking the law, but he has no choice if he wants to survive. To make matters worse, the police instantly whip out fresh wanted posters with Po's face printed on them too. Now both of them are full-blown fugitives being hunted through the crowded streets of Juniper City. A massive stampede of heavily armored bull guards starts charging down the alley after them. Po tries doing slick parkour over rooftops, but his panda weight makes him fall in slow motion. The chase scene gets completely wild as they smash through outdoor markets and public performances. The angry guards corner Po and Jin against a dead end with nowhere left to run. Jin executes a quick getaway move, diving straight down a hidden sewer shaft in the pavement. Po plummets through the darkness, landing hard in a shadowy, underground criminal kingdom. Jin smiles and reveals that they have just entered the secret den of the city's slickest thieves. Deep beneath the city streets, hundreds of underground outlaws stare down the panda with intense menace. Po realizes that in this underworld, finding out who is friend or foe is going to be nearly impossible. With the Blood Moon deadline ticking down, the stakes have officially hit absolute maximum overdrive. They have to navigate this underground maze before the chameleon spots them and unleashes her dark magic. Unaware of the danger waiting ahead, but takes a deep breath and prepares to face the criminal underground head-on. He and Jin are suddenly surrounded by the dangerous den of thieves, and their leader Han is definitely not giving out free hug tickets. Han recognizes Jin immediately and calls her out for ditching the crew. He is ready to give her a brutal punishment for leaving, making the vibe awkward real fast. The criminal crew literally votes for the slow and painful option like it is a twisted reality show. He tries to flex his Dragon Warrior title to intimidate the gang, but these street thugs could not care less. Inside Po's head, his internal Shifu voices start lecturing him about using violence. He tries to debate his inner mentors, but they are all in total agreement about his terrible life choices. He tries to improvise some goofy proverb, but he completely fails and accidentally hypes up the gang for even more violence. Jin low-key roasts Po's terrible dialogue skills while the mob closes in. Just when things look cooked, Han realizes Po was actually trained by the legendary Master Shifu. He asks Han for a safe spot to hide out until the heat dies down in the city. Han gives them shelter for the night, but warns them to disappear before nightfall or he will turn them in. Meanwhile, Mr. Ping and Li Shan walk into a super sketchy tavern looking for clues about their boy. The angry tavern owner demands payment for all the destruction Po left behind earlier. Mr. Ping tries to defend his son's taste while low-key dodging getting thrown into a boiling soup pot. Ping talks his way out of getting cooked by complimenting the owner's cooking. Li Shan steps up with straight-up main character energy and pretends to be an absolute menace. Li Shan bluffs that Po learned all his terrifying combat skills from him. He claims he taught Po everything except mercy, putting fear into the whole bar. Li Shan threatens to knock out everyone's teeth if they don't give up information right now. He even starts chewing on game pieces to prove he is completely unhinged. The terrifying bluff works, and the tavern owner immediately snitches that Po took a boat straight to Juniper City. The two dads steal a boat and hit the water, keeping the search party moving. On their way to the villain's lair, Po tries teaching Jin some classic Dragon Warrior moves. Jin tries using a broom to copy his style, but no magical golden dragon appears. Jin roasts Po's catchphrase, insisting that skadoosh is not even a real word. Jin admits that Po is surprisingly different from every other martial arts master she has ever met. Han announces that the streets are clear, signaling it is time for their big mission. They finally arrive at the chameleon's massive palace, deciding to sneak in through the back like total pros. Po praises Jin for keeping her promise and actually leading him right to the target. Po hands Jin a cherished pit from Master Ogwe's sacred peach tree as a token of trust. He reminds her that even a tiny discarded pit has the inner potential to become a giant tree. Jin drops a sarcastic joke back, and Po realizes they might actually be building a real friendship. Meanwhile, the two dads are hot on Po's trail, tracking his chaotic path across the city. Li Shan uses his panda instincts to navigate through the crowded streets. Po and Jin make it into the inner sanctuary, but suddenly a giant magical cage drops down on Po. Po panics as the cage pins him down, asking Jin to help lift the heavy bars. Po hands Jin his sacred staff of wisdom so she can leverage it to pry open the heavy cage. Instead of helping, Jin turns around and walks away with the magical artifact. Jin casually hands the priceless staff directly to the chameleon. The chameleon smirks as she takes the staff, realizing her grand plan is coming together perfectly. Jin admits that Po was a super easy mark who trusted her way too quickly. Po's jaw drops in absolute horror as Jin reveals the first rule of the streets is to never trust anyone. The chameleon cackles, revealing that Jin was her personal sidekick the entire time. The shape-shifting warlord brags about taking Jin off the streets and training her to be a cold-hearted thief. Jin stands quietly beside her dark master, looking low-key guilty but completely trapped by her loyalty. The chameleon opens up about her dark backstory and why she is so obsessed with ultimate power. She reveals that every kung fu master rejected her back in the day because of her tiny size. So she abandoned traditional training entirely and mastered dark sorcery to get revenge on the realm. She explains that while she can shapeshift into anyone, true kung fu secrets reside in the spiritual realm. With the Staff of Wisdom, she now has the key to unlock the spirit realm and steal every legendary villain's skill. The chameleon taunts Pa, claiming those enchanted bars are impossible to break through. Pa uses his brain and smashes right through the floor, escaping the cage by going underneath. The chameleon gets super annoyed that her magical trap was bypassed by basic panda logic. Jin confronts Pa on the lower ledge, frantically apologizing for betraying his trust. Pa ignores her excuses because saving the world from a power-hungry shapeshifter takes priority. When guards shove Pa off the steep balcony, Jin starts second-guessing her evil boss's cruelty. The chameleon coldly reminds Jin of the second rule of the streets, showing zero empathy. She shuts down Jin's hesitation immediately, demanding complete focus on their evil ritual. The chameleon declares it is time to plunder the spirit realm and steal all its ancient powers. She roasts Jin for acting soft before ordering her guards to seal the palace. As Pa plunges down the dizzying heights of the palace, Li Shan and Mr. Ping catch him just in time. Pa gets super down on himself, feeling like total trash for getting tricked so easily. He admits to his dads that he completely ruined everything. He realizes he handed the most dangerous weapon in the universe right to a supervillain. Pa confesses that he only left the valley because he was terrified of accepting change. Mr. Ping hits him with deep parental wisdom, explaining that change is what gives life its flavor. Ping explains that without constant evolution, even the best things in life get stale. Li Shan drops some motivation too, showing how stepping out of his comfort zone made him stronger. Back at the palace, Jin tries to defend Pa, but the chameleon shuts her down instantly. The villain threatens Jin, warning her that she is only useful as long as she remains ruthless. Under the eerie glow of the blood moon, the chameleon prepares to open the spiritual portal. She slams the Staff of Wisdom down to begin the ultimate dark spell. The chameleon low-key complains about the dramatic timing before rushing the magical process. She shouts into the void, commanding the soul of the ultimate kung fu warrior to appear. Tai Lung steps through the spiritual rift and is shocked to see Ogui's sacred staff in her hands. Tai Lung refuses to believe the dragon warrior gave up without a fight. The chameleon demands that Tai Lung hand over his legendary nerve strikes and combat techniques. The chameleon snaps her fingers and uses dark magic to siphon Tai Lung's combat abilities directly into her body. She instantly unleashes his iconic move with terrifying speed, leaving Tai Lung completely paralyzed. The chameleon is low-key absorbing every legendary kung fu move in existence and she is totally drunk on power right now. Pa refuses to back down because he needs the dragon staff back before things get completely cooked. Jin tries to stop him from rushing in, warning Pa that no fancy stick is worth getting deleted. Pa is totally heartbroken, telling Jin that his biggest mistake was actually trusting her in the first place. Jin swears she is done being a villain and wants to step out of Chameleon's toxic shadow for good. She literally throws hands with Pa just to keep him from marching straight into a fatal death trap. Jin begs Pa to let her do one good deed to make up for betraying his trust. Even though Jin knows Pa is drastically outmatched, Po's main character energy forces him to keep pushing forward. Pa warns Jin to run far away while he steps into the lion's den alone. Meanwhile, Po's two dads are wallowing in major dad guilt for letting their favorite panda walk into peril. Jin feels like an absolute villain, admitting she is the worst friend on the planet. Realizing it is literally 3 people against an entire fortress, they need a whole squad ASAP. They rally all the street crooks and underground thieves to form their own chaotic rescue team. Jin yells to the crowd that the legendary dragon warrior is cooked if they do not back him up. She drops a heavy motivational line, reminding these criminal misfits that it is never too late to pivot. The thieves absurdly logic that doing a good deed now lets them do way worse crimes later. With total chaotic energy, this rogue army prepares to storm the palace for all the wrong reasons. Meanwhile inside, the evil chameleon laughs about falling straight into her obvious setup. Jin notices the entire perimeter is totally crawling with heavy security. In the spirit realm cages, Lord Shen, General Kai, and Tai Lung are being drained of their kung fu essence. Pa stumbles upon old foes, including a random fire-breathing crocodile named Scott. Tai Lung roast battles Pa, claiming Master Ogway made a massive error picking a clumsy panda. Pa promises the iconic villains that he will recover the staff and restore all their stolen moves. Tai Lung scoffs, totally convinced Pa has already lost this war. Outside, Papa Ping and Li Shan take on a horde of angry lizard guards with spicy cooking ingredients. Ping literally burns the guards using ultra-spicy mulberry punch as a secret weapon. The thief mob goes wild, egging on the madness as they smash through enemy defenses. Pa finally corners the chameleon, demanding his legendary dragon staff back. The chameleon mocks Po's villain confrontation line with pure disrespect. She gloats that this final face-off between masters was always bound to happen. Pa hits her with a classic comeback, wishing he had a dumpling for every arrogant villain speech. The chameleon brags about how they both started from nothing and rose to absolute power. She reveals her villainous plan to conquer every single village from Juniper City to the Valley of Peace. Pa flexes that he already saw her delusional plan in a spiritual vision. Pa drops deep wisdom, telling her that changing external shapes means nothing if you do not grow inside. She rejects his offer of peace and instantly lashes out with dark magic. The chameleon starts spamming stolen kung fu moves, swinging like Master Elephant. She unleashes the boar's tusks attack with speed and zero remorse. She mocks Pa while executing Tai Lung's signature strikes against him. Pa calls her out, screaming that stealing moves does not make her a true martial arts master. She boasts that she is literally every powerful villain Pa has ever faced packed into one body. Jin crashes into the room to save Pa, missing her landing but bringing major backup energy. The chameleon snarls at Jin for choosing a chubby panda over her own master. Jin fires back with street rules, declaring she will never serve a tyrant again. Seeing the odds stacked, the villain uses her dark magic to morph into a giant composite chimera. She literally turns into a terrifying dark clone of Pa himself to fight them. Jin gets overwhelmed and freaks out, crying that they cannot defeat this monster. Pa quotes Master Ogway, reminding her that you never know your limits until you jump. Pa tells her to trust her training and be like a peach pit waiting to bloom. Jin steps up with massive main character energy to finish the battle. The chameleon screams in fury as Jin counters every stolen kung fu technique. Jin pulls off a high-flying roll, stir, and serve combination right into chameleon's face. Pa turns out to have let himself be caged on purpose to give Jin her moment to shine. Pa jokes that his locked-up act was just method acting to force her growth. He explains that a pit can never become a grand tree without room to blossom. Pa grabs his staff and delivers the ultimate, iconic skadoosh to wipe out the chameleon. Tai Lung watches in respect, finally admitting that Ogway picked the perfect dragon warrior. The villain spirits bow to Pa before being honorably returned to the spirit realm. Jin shuts down the shrinking chameleon as she gets dragged off into custody. The villains fade away peacefully back to the spirit world. Jin accepts her jail time gracefully, contemplating starting a legit business after serving her sentence. Pa hints that he has a much bigger promotion waiting for her once she gets released. Back at the Jade Palace, Shifu loses his mind when Pa selects a former criminal fox as the next dragon warrior. Shifu stresses out so hard that he leaves to hyperventilate and meditate for days. He reassures Jin that the best leaders often come from the most unlikely places. He tries dropping spiritual proverbs but ends up making hilarious food references instead. He officially kickstarts Jin's training to become the new legendary hero. The Furious Five show up in style as Jack Black jams out to an epic pop classic. They jump right into a wildly chaotic and energetic kung fu training montage. Jin pushes past her limits, finally realizing her true potential as the next dragon warrior. What an absolute cinema ending to Poe's incredible journey from noodle chef to supreme spiritual leader. If you enjoyed this ultimate recap of Kung Fu Panda 4, smash that like button right now. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another high-octane movie breakdown. Drop a comment down below with your favorite Kung Fu Panda villain of all time. Thanks for watching, stay awesome, and I will catch you legends in the next video.